As a society, we must do more to stop new HIV infections and untimely HIV-related deaths through both primary and secondary prevention and better management approaches.
You too can join the fight against HIV and AIDS. Limit sexual contact to only one partner. Use a condom consistently and correctly, or practice abstinence. If you are already infected, always take your medication to reduce your viral load. For more information, visit jasforlife.org or call 925-002122. Hi, I'm Audrey Williams, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Stay with us as we turn the pages.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, December 1. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is refuting claims circulating on social media that the recently passed National Identification System (NIDS) bill will infringe on the rights of Jamaicans. Several voice notes and videos are making the rounds on social media platforms, claiming that the government will require DNA, vein pattern, and other invasive forms of identification. At the youth edition of the OPM Live Community Dialogue, the Prime Minister said the voice notes and videos were all false. He restated that the bill sought only to develop a national civil registry which would allow the state to properly plan for its citizens. To combat the spread of misinformation, Mr. Holness committed his government to having a series of public education campaigns and consultations with various interest groups.
I am not here to create a system that is going to deprive Jamaicans of their freedom. And you know what else?
But the bill
I am not hiding from consultation. And I will go to every church in Jamaica, I will go to every room, every house, and I will answer them.
The first in a series of NIDS town halls is slated for this Tuesday at Emancipation Park in New Kingston, starting at 6 p.m. There's also the nidsfacts.com website, which has credible information about the system. Local craft vendors and operators of attractions are set to benefit from a Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Tourism Product Development Company and the Travel Foundation based in the United Kingdom. The agreement establishes a framework of cooperation and collaboration which will see both organizations working more closely to build the capacity of the targeted groups. The objective is to increase local economic benefits from tourism by supporting craft markets and attractions to improve their practices. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the major objective is to equip the operators to deliver to visitors the experiences that authentically define destination Jamaica.
It's part of growing the capacity of our people to produce more, to provide more, to be more creative and innovative, so that we can be more distinctive in terms of the quality of our offerings.
The minister was speaking at the signing ceremony held on Wednesday, the final day of the UNWTO Global Conference on Jobs and Inclusive Growth, Partnerships for Sustainable Tourism at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James. The UNDP Deputy Resident Representative in Jamaica is asserting that the organization remains committed to supporting the country's quest to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Jamaica is a signatory to the SDGs, which are part of the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Dr. Elsie Laurence Chanoun says the targets articulated under Jamaica's Vision 2030 National Development Plan are consistent with the SDGs. She says they can all be achieved if stakeholders collectively work to make it happen.
It is a matter of political, personal, and collective will combined with human, technical, and financial resources appropriately allocated.
The UNDP's Deputy Resident Representative was speaking at the second PIOJ Dialogue for Development lecture series held in Portland recently. Dr. Laurence Chanoun said the lecture series was an important platform for engaging the public on development issues and lauded the PIOJ for spearheading the initiative. The Poor Relief Act is to be replaced with an updated piece of legislation as part of the process to modernize the administration of the disadvantaged. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie says the Human Services Bill that is to replace the Poor Relief Act will shortly be tabled in Parliament, as it was recently approved by Cabinet. The proposed bill will establish the Office of Human Services Managers and Administrators, which will replace the Inspector of Poor and Services. The modernization process will also include the renaming of the country's infirmaries to the Adult Residential Care Facility.
The Human Services Act will also wind up the current Board of Supervision and replace it with the Human Service Division, which will function within the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
Minister McKenzie was delivering the keynote address at Tuesday's Board of Supervision's Children Awards. The event recognized children who are beneficiaries of the poor relief departments across the island and excelled in recent external examinations. And finally, government has endorsed a National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Repentance to be observed on the weekend. The initiative is being spearheaded by the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches under the theme Jamaica, Repent and Turn. The official event will be held on Saturday, December 2 in Halfway Tree Square at 7 p.m. This will be followed by another event on Sunday, December 3 at Sam Sharp Square in Montego Bay. At Wednesday's launch, Prime Minister Andrew Holness expressed confidence that the day would positively influence crime and violence in the country.
The government endorses it, the government supports it, and we encourage all Jamaicans to come out and pray. Pray in your homes. Pray in your churches. Pray at your workplace. Pray in the public square. Pray.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Inform yourself about the HTLV1 infection. HTLV1 means human T-cell lymphotropic virus type 1. It's not the AIDS virus, but they are contracted in a similar fashion. You can get the virus from having unprotected sexual intercourse, getting blood that has the virus in it, breastfeeding, and sharing injection needles with HTLV1 infected persons. These are a few of the signs and symptoms of the virus: skin rashes, swollen lymph nodes, backaches, difficulty in passing urine, sensation in the feet, weakness in the legs, and reduced sex drive. If you have any of these signs or symptoms, you should see a doctor. For further information, please contact the HTLV Project, Department of Pathology at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Kingston 7 at 977-1958 or 927-1620-9.
How well do you know your partner? Get tested and know your status. You may just save your own life.
An AIDS-free world by the year 2030. It's a vision that Jamaica shares with the world through the leadership of the United Nations.
The goal that was set by the UN and accepted by the global community is not out of reach, my friends, but it will take unprecedented levels of collaboration. All hands on deck. Government, communities, and the private sector. We will all have to band together to support this extraordinary push to end our epidemic at home.
The Jamaican government has long recognized stigma and discrimination to be a major barrier to HIV/AIDS prevention and treatment, as well as the care and support of people living with the disease. So the state has been working to address this and similar challenges such as gender inequality and gender-based violence by promoting greater equity, inclusivity, and human rights for all. Development of a workplace HIV policy, for example, sets out terms and conditions designed to ensure that every person living with AIDS is respected while trying to put a cap on transmission. An important component of the work is the building of leadership capacity at the community, district, and national levels. Increased awareness of the issues through continuous sensitization programs and improvements to the healthcare system is giving people with HIV/AIDS a new lease on life.
35 years ago, the world saw the first cases of what would grow to become the HIV/AIDS pandemic. In the 1980s, diagnosis equaled a death sentence. Today, people that are diagnosed with HIV/AIDS are able to live longer and, more importantly, to access necessary medicines and treatment.
In moving from a standalone HIV response, government has created a new integrated national HIV/STI sexual health policy and strategic plan. Service delivery has been integrated through the creation of the National Family Planning Board's Sexual Health Agency. That agency serves the needs of Jamaicans in a more comprehensive and efficient way, providing guidance, leadership, advocacy, and the implementation of quality, equitable sexual health education and services. It has the role of building social cohesion among people living with HIV and key population leaders, and enhancing the coordination of policies and programs across sectors. While the Caribbean region has the second highest HIV prevalence in the world, with Jamaica the highest prevalence among English-speaking Caribbean nations, the country has been making progress. The Ministry of Health's data reports an estimated 1.8% of adults ages 15 to 49 are living with HIV. This amounts to an estimated 32,000. Introduction of antiretroviral ARV drugs in Jamaica has resulted in HIV-positive persons receiving treatment and proper care, which allows them to live as long as someone without the virus. Deaths related to the disease have decreased by 43%, with treatment reaching that same percentage of persons infected with the disease. It is believed that if the country is able to treat all persons who are HIV infected, it could reduce the prevalence rate to almost zero by 2030.
From 2000 till now, you've halved the number of new infections, and also from the same year, you have come from 10% transmission of mother to child to 2%, which is almost getting there.
Once persons are treated and their viral load is undetectable, they are considered 90% less likely to transmit HIV compared to someone who is not treated.
If you are on therapy, you are protecting a partner by 96%. Even, higher than or closer to what a vaccine would do. So starting people on therapy is paramount. Starting people on therapy will help us prevent new infections.
A 2020 timeline has been adopted at the United Nations in a fast-track approach, which proposes to achieve some targets towards eliminating HIV/AIDS as a public health threat. Prevention, treatment, and stigma and discrimination are to be the areas of focus.
For the treatment component, we have inviting countries to achieve what we call the 90-90-90. That is identifying 90% of the infections, providing therapy for 90% of those who have been identified, and keeping with viral detection at zero to the last 90%.
Abstinence and safe sex among young people are being promoted through sexual education. Sex education not only helps to prevent HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, but also supports other development matters, such as the prevention of teenage pregnancy.
In our work to put youth and adolescents at the heart of the HIV response, it is critical to recognize that the efforts, especially those channeled towards education, awareness, and personal responsibility, will ultimately translate to the development of individuals who are better equipped to make good decisions and positively contribute to their families, communities, and nation building.
Getting to zero is everybody's business, a target we can reach by addressing the clinical, cultural, and behavioral attributes that fuel the prevalence of HIV and AIDS.
Security guards, protect your health. Sign up for the Private Security Regulation Authority's health insurance scheme. There are 5 options starting from $997 up to $1,882 per month for individual coverage. To find out how to access the health insurance scheme, contact the Private Security Regulation Authority at 967-2522 or visit their website at psra.gov.jm.
University students, this next feature was made just for you.
To be safe and secure in a space facilitating me reading for my degree should be a responsibility of the administrators of that space, I thought. Or should it? Should it solely be their responsibility to protect me, or should I also be my own protector?
Some good questions there raised by one tertiary student, as he, along with other colleagues and stakeholders from the education and security sectors, discussed the critical issue of security measures for students pursuing higher education. The forum was hosted by the UWI's Association of Caribbean Higher Education Administrators, ACHIA.
It is timely for us to look and for us to share with everyone and for us to get all other tertiary institutions, if they didn't have the security measures in place, to help them, to encourage them to, to put some systems in place.
What are some of the security challenges faced by these students?
A false sense of security among our students. Poor reporting mechanisms in the student services offered by the administration. Poor cultural orientation of newly hired security guards. And an absence of a national agency to monitor security in the tertiary space.
With that said, the authorities got to sharing the security measures already in place and the fact that each student should be aware of these measures.
We have something called a follow and search throughout the entire campus. Throughout the entire campus, we have what we call a follow and search that deals with our CCTV cameras. We can follow you anywhere on our campus. Anywhere on our campus, we could follow you.
There are other strategies employed by these institutions to ensure safety. Police are stationed on campus who do regular patrols. Security guards are also employed to keep watch. They are often seen at specific locations like the entrance and exit of the campus. Regular security workshops are hosted to keep students aware of changes in the security system used by the institution, and best practices are being gained from our neighboring tertiary institutions.
Have you ever seen or heard, and those who are trained and the forces, when a complainant comes to the station to report, he or she says, "Officer, I did not see where the man come from. He just showed up out of nowhere." No. You perhaps walked past him or drove past him. It is because we have not trained our minds to observe little things. Students should be encouraged to walk in groups, especially at nights. Be conscious of their surroundings at all times. Don't stick to a particular routine. They leave home the same time every morning. They go to the same bus stop. They take the same bus at the same time. In the same way how they do that, somebody is monitoring their pattern. Utilize our official public transportation system. Too many of our students are taking the robots, the shuttle buses, and the other vehicles that are endangering their lives and the lives of others of us in the public.
This is Mixwell Production.
If they're on an airplane, they put up the plane. If they're at a hotel, they put it up. Not at home, I'm at a hotel enjoying the weekend. And you are just exposing yourself to somebody who you have in your contact who perhaps is not as legitimate like those of us.
Safety in our schools is important and necessary to support academic success. It takes the work of the university and the awareness of these students to create and maintain a safe learning environment.
We need to stop competing and start putting ideas together and essentially attacking security in the best way possible.
The Scientific Research Council is bringing reliable, accurate, and efficient analytical testing services to you. Investors, manufacturers, and service operators, protect yourself and consumers by ensuring that your product and environs are safe and secure. Come to us to test your food, cosmetics, potable and recreational water, environmental air quality, trade effluent, and to conduct shelf life studies for products. The SRC conducts on-site sampling, or you can submit your samples to our offices at Hope Gardens Complex, Kingston 6. The Analytical Services Department Laboratory is certified locally and internationally and is accredited ISO 17025. For more information, visit our office or send an email to prinfo@src-jamaica.org or call us at 927-1771-4. The Scientific Research Council, making science, technology, and innovation work for you.
Vaccination protects us against many diseases, including poliomyelitis, tetanus, and rubella. The Ministry of Health offers vaccines free of cost for the 0 to 7-year-old segment of our population. Get the details in this next feature.
Immunization is arguably one of the most cost-effective healthcare interventions ever invented. Since the first successful vaccine was developed to treat smallpox in 1796, vaccination has been preventing illnesses and deaths for millions of people around the world. According to the World Health Organization, about 2 to 3 million deaths are prevented each year because of persons taking up vaccines or being immunized. Through vaccination, smallpox was declared eradicated from the world in 1980, and that's a significant achievement. Other diseases are on the verge of being eradicated through the process of immunization here in Jamaica.
Immunization has led to a substantial reduction of illnesses and death from diseases such as polio, measles, whooping cough, and newborn tetanus. Measles deaths have decreased by almost 80% over the past 10 years, which again is a significant achievement.
Jamaica's immunization program has managed to eliminate a number of vaccine-preventable diseases over the years. These include polio, which usually left children paralyzed.
Jamaica had the last case, for example, of polio in 1982. The last case of locally transmitted measles in 1991. The last case of diphtheria in 1995. The last case of rubella in 2000, and the last case of newborn tetanus in 2001.
In 2011, the country recorded 100% immunization coverage for BCG or tuberculosis. Thanks to the expanded program on immunization EPI, which began in 1976, the population coverage against vaccine-preventable diseases remains relatively high. Under the program, immunization coverage for children under 2 years old reached 93 to 94% in 2010-2011. The expanded program on immunization provides free vaccination to children ages 0 to 7 during the routine immunization schedule of the Ministry of Health. This is an integral strategy to reduce child mortality and morbidity.
First, we give at birth up to 6 weeks of age BCG vaccine, which is given usually in the hospital setting, and BCG protects against tuberculosis. At 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, babies are due a vaccine against polio, which prevents poliomyelitis, as well as the pentavalent vaccine or the 5-in-1 vaccine.
Then at 12 months of age, the MMR vaccine is administered to protect children against measles, mumps, and rubella.
At 18 months, we give the first set of booster vaccines. and we give boosters again for MMR. The children get DPT as well, which is for diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. And then they also get the polio vaccine at that time as well.
Between the ages of 4 to 6 years, children must get a second booster vaccine for DPT as well as a second booster vaccine for polio.
A lot of these vaccine-preventable diseases are actually quite contagious and can cause death, especially among our young children. And so therefore I would encourage parents to ensure that their children are appropriately vaccinated.
In Jamaica, children must be fully immunized before entry to school, and that is usually a part of mandatory school medicals due before the start of each academic year.
They have to present the immunization record at the health facility to confirm that the vaccines indeed have been done, and if they are missing any vaccines for whatever reason, then they are provided for them at the health facility.
The immunization record is part of the Child Health Development Passport introduced for every child in 2010 to replace the immunization cards used previously. As part of its public education initiative, the Ministry of Health displays posters and other material at health centers and schools, reminding parents and caregivers about the immunization schedules, showing what vaccine is due and when. Disease surveillance is also practiced at ports of entry to combat the country's increased susceptibility to new diseases due to globalization and increased travel. Across the board, government is on a mission to improve the health of the nation by making traditional vaccines available and exploring new and non-traditional vaccines to tackle other diseases.
For example, the mitigation of NCDs like some cancers, which can be prevented through vaccination, such as the vaccine for the human papilloma virus, which causes cervical cancer, falls in line with the Ministry of Health strategic plan to improve the offering to the public. And the commitment today is that we will work to ensure that other vaccines on the market with a proven track record are introduced as part of our routine administration to our population.
The Ministry of Health is serious about preventing new HIV infections while increasing its responsiveness to those affected. Here's more.
Adolescents and young adults are at the increased risk for HIV due to the many developmental, psychological, social, and structural transitions that converge in this period of their lives. In addition, adolescent deaths result from HIV continue to rise despite declines in other age groups. As a society, we must do more to stop new HIV infections and untimely HIV-related deaths through both primary and secondary prevention and better management approaches.
Thanks for spending time with us. The proverb that we leave with you is, every dog have him day and every puss him 4 o'clock. What does this mean? We should not behave as if we're better than others or allow our position in life to blind us to the fact that tremendous opportunities can be given to persons we least expect to reap these benefits. Remember to keep up to date with the latest government information. Join us online at gis.gov.jm or watch our programs on our YouTube channel. And be sure to check out our social media platforms. You may also catch a new edition of Jamaica Magazine tomorrow on this very station. Until then, I'm Audrey Williams. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.